What up, parents? It's the Parent from Love podcast. I'm your host, Jerrod Zertucci, fellow parent, behavior nerd, emotions expert, and active imagination guy looking to give you that edge in parenting. This is an oasis for parents who feel overwhelmed, burnt out, or just stuck. Parent from Love is that warm and open feeling we all have within us that allows us to make confident decisions on the fly while staying connected to our loved ones, all while the chaos ensues around us. The more we attend to this Parent from Love feeling, the easier it is to stay there when our loved ones push our buttons, flip our lids, or turn us into our parents. What? How do they do that? Warning, listening to this podcast may result in you becoming the cycle breaking legend your family tree has been waiting for. Side effects include confidence, self love, and aha moments. So just kick back, relax, take a nice deep breath in, smile. You are unconditionally loved. Hey, everybody, it's Jerrod from Parent from Love. And it's great to be here with you. And I want to get started with playful parenting. I love this topic. It's one of my all-time favorites to talk it over with parents. It's very fascinating how much we can learn through play and how much we can. All right, you got a little bit of feedback. Nice. Okay, cool. So this is the Parent from Love podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. I wanted to wear some playful attire, so it's this silly hot dog playing golf. And yeah, let's get started. It started like every other Tuesday. The sun peeked through the blinds. The coffee gurgled gurgle in the pot, and 4-year-old Timmy stood in the hallway like a tiny little dictator, one sock on and one sock clenched in his fist, trembling with fear. These socks feel spicy. I will not wear spicy socks, said Timmy. And Millennial Mike, the dad, froze mid toast butter. His eyes started to the clock. 7:11 a.m. They had 19 minutes to get out the door. Oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? How often does this occur in our homes, right? Millennium Mike says gently, buddy, you wore those socks yesterday, and they said that you said that they were your fast socks. Yeah, but that was before. Now they're spicy and evil. Across the kitchen, Boomer Bob, Mike's dear old dad, sipped his coffee without looking up, and Boomer Bob says, "Oh yeah, try wool socks in July. They'll put some hair on your legs." Mike shot him a look. Boomer Bob just shrugged. Man, I was trying to help. Just then, the third roommate of this parenting adventure, his name is Sage. He's the ancient wise man, stepped in from the laundry room holding a warm pair of dinosaur socks like they were ancient scrolls. Sage says, "This is not about socks." And Mike mutters, "It's always about those darn socks." And Sage says, "It's about transitions. It's about feeling safe." The body brain just woke up after a long journey through dreamland. And Boomer Bob grumbles, "When I woke up at 4 a.m., I didn't get a transition. I got a shovel and a goat to feed." Sage just ignored him and knelt beside Timmy. "Would you like to wear these dinosaur socks on your feet or on your hands first? Let the dinosaurs march down to your toes, maybe?" Timmy blinked. He sniffed the dino socks. "Will they roar?" "Only if you listen closely." 10 seconds later, Timmy was roaring around the kitchen with dino socks on his hands, then his feet, then a shirt, then pants. Millennial Mike whispering to Sage, "You're a magician." "No," he said, "just regulated." Boomer Bob says, "What?" He said, "I think it means calm, but in like a weird New Age sense." As the trio finally made it to the front door, Timmy turned back and shouted triumphantly, I beat the spicy socks! Mike grinned. They were only 6 minutes late. Hey, that's progress. Okay, so this story kind of encapsulate how we can turn kind of a mundane or man, this always happens. Why does this happen? Into a playful uh, point in our days, and I'm going to give you more information as to why that's a really good way to go and how it can be difficult, why it can be difficult, and then how we can. I got like 5 activities at the end, I think, or maybe more that we could try to help the goofy and the silliness, and because what I've learned through helping parents over the years is some parents like really gravitate to that and they're like, oh cool, I'm confident in play, and then other parents, they may have a different play style. There's different play languages when it comes to playing with our young ones, and some young ones, they like to play differently than their adult caretakers, and so that's okay. I'm here to let you know some other different ways that you might you might feel more natural for you to play. And another aspect of this too is when your child wants to play and have quality time in my eyes, and also kind of in the parenting circles, I guess you could call them, the parent support circles, is quality time is child led. There's not a lot of questions being asked by us, right? And there's more periods, is how I like to call it too. There's more periods in our sentences, like we're just sportscasting, newscasting, whatever you want to say. And there's no expectations that you're teaching them anything. It's literally you're in their world. You get to be in their world of imagination and play. So, are you ready to laugh a little more? Today's episode is all about play, not just for kids, but for you too. It turns out play isn't a break from learning, it is learning. So, there's going to be 4 things we're going to be talking about today. Play as a developmental driver. So, there's a social, emotional, and brain growth kind of driver for play and what it promotes and develops. Then we got attachment play, which is healing through laughter, and that's kind of coined by Lawrence Cohen, one of my favorite authors, because he wrote Playful Parenting. It's probably somewhere back there. Number 3 is how to enter their world without hijacking it. Number 4 is why 10 minutes of undivided play can change your day. And that's what I was talking about with quality time. All right. And then in the middle there, we got a little commercial, a little cheesy commercial. So stay tuned for that. Okay, the first topic here, play as a developmental driver, social, emotional, and brain growth. So play is not a luxury. It's the language of childhood and a driver of brain development. I want you to imagine if your child arrived in this world speaking a different language, one with no words, only movement, imagination, communication with the body, laughter, and pretend. That language is play. It's how children communicate their needs. They experiment with their environment. They experiment with their internal feelings as well with play. And to dismiss play as just fun is like tossing out a toddler's first words because they aren't full sentences yet. So play is learning. It's been coined as well. Like that's like the work of kids is play. So when kids are playing, their brains are doing high intensity workouts. It's like CrossFit, okay, for the neurons, forming, proving, and strengthening connections that support their future ability to plan, focus, relate to others, and also have emotional resilience. It supports problem solving, creativity, empathy, self-regulation, and social skills. Think of play as the child's lab, right? We've all seen them kind of being experimenter, explorer, this laboratory of science, of the stage and gym all in one. So that's play, lab, stage, and gym all in one. In the lab, they test hypotheses. What happens if I build my tower this way? What happens if I am this role? What happens if this I do this to my friend I'm playing with, right? On the stage, they take on new identities. Today, I'm the bossy big sister. Tomorrow, I'm the baby. Today, I'm the parent. Tomorrow, I'll be the teenager or my sister or brother, right? And in the gym, they stretch emotional muscles. Can I wait my turn? What happens if I lose? So that's a really great way to think about lab, stage, and gym. There's different identities or different aspects. I would say there's different parts of the brain that are being exercised and taught and developed through play. Every challenge in play, whether it's sharing a toy or building a castle, offers a hidden invitation. Can you think creatively? Can you empathize? Can you bounce back? And children accept these invitations daily, joyfully through their imagination. Now, neuroscience shows play strengthens neural connections in the prefrontal cortex, where planning, focus, and emotion regulation live. So, you know that magical part of the brain that helps adults plan, stay focused, manage impulses, and not yell at the car that cut them off? That's the prefrontal cortex, right? That's what makes us human. That's what developed for us humans and not for chimpanzees or gorillas. Hey, guess what? They found out play is the miracle grow for it. MRI studies show that when children engage in rich, imaginative, or social play, the prefrontal cortex lights up with activity. It's as if their brains are whispering, "This is important. Save this wiring or need it for later, for homework, maybe, for relationships, maybe for school, possibly for life." So, talking points. Children don't just play to pass time, they play to become. So we're going to go back to that kind of stage mindset. When a child picks up a stick and says, "It's a sword," they're not just pretending, they're becoming brave. I'm the hero. They're becoming the hero. Or even I'm the victim. Now I get to see and feel how a victim or the bad guy feels, right? When they cradle a doll, they're practicing nature. Through play, kids are rehearsing who they might be. Play is their way of trying on the world like a costume. Okay, the last thing I just said is kind of still in the back of my head when it came when I talked about being a victim, like becoming a victim, I guess, and then like it being synonymous with being a bad guy. And I can say that that is possibly pretty true when it comes to comic book heroes and Disney movies and what our media, basically movies, have kind of taught us is there's always that origin story where yeah we all get victimized. Like let's be honest, we've all been traumatized or been made a victim, right? Victimization. It's the hero that comes out of the ashes like a phoenix, right? They have a reawakening and they start ascending. And to me, I feel like it's the villains or the bad guys that really hold on to that. I was victimized. An injustice occurred to me, and this injustice means I need to take revenge or do something that is not good for society or me or those around us. So I don't know. I just made that connection and I just kind of wanted to build more context around it. Please, if you have another frame of mind or perspective, I'd love to hear that. Message me, email me, write in the notes or something. But yeah, that would be great. So next is part of play. Hey, Jasleen, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you.
Good, cool. If you have any questions, just feel free to pop in. You can try commenting. I'm going to look at the comments every now and then, but today we're talking about play. and the parts of play that can be very developmentally boosting for not only us ourselves, but also our young ones. Um, so through play, children get to test out roles, they get to express emotion and make sense of their world. So kind of picture a child whose family just had a new baby. That child might start playing mommy and baby every day, even putting a stuffed animal in timeout. What are they doing? They're trying to understand the shifting world. They are expressing uncertainty, maybe even jealousy or pride without ever saying those words out loud. So they're kind of using, again, the play as a stage, as kind of like building different identities or different parts of them through play. And play is also safe, right? When we're in a playful mode, we're in a regulated state usually. And if we're not, then and that's part of the play, then it's almost like we're still just kind of um, using it as like acting it out, right? We're acting it out through play. Kind of like the what I said earlier with like picks up a sword and says, "Hey, it's a sword," and they're becoming brave, or "Hey, I'm the hero in this, you know, pretend play scenario. I'm the villain," or "I'm the mom, I'm the dad, I'm the doctor." They're trying that on to see, what's that perspective like? Which was great for empathy, right? So rough and tumble, pretend play, and role-based games all wire different parts of the brain. So just like a balanced meal has proteins, fats, and veggies, balanced play feeds different parts of the brain. So we've got rough and tumble play, which builds emotional regulation. Children learn how to gauge force, right? When they're in rough and tumble play. Um, right? And by reading others' comfort levels and kind of social cues. Okay, that was too much. Oops. That felt really good to me, but it didn't feel good to that person, obviously. So next time I'll gauge my force and stop before someone gets hurt. Pretend play stretches creativity, empathy, and language skills. Role-based games like board games or tag strengthen logic, fairness, and impulse control too. So each play style is like a different workout for different mental muscles. Play is also where kids learn social boundaries, taking turns, right? And also like reading cues and resolving conflict. Have you ever watched a group of kids arguing over who gets to be the dragon? That's not a failed game. It's a training ground, right? Through negotiation, compromise, and occasional meltdown, children are practicing the social skills they'll need in classrooms, friendships, and relationships for the rest of their lives. Now, emotionally, play gives them a safe place to explore fear, joy, anger, frustration, and even power. In the real world, kids have very little power, right? That's just how a lot of societies are built these days. But in play, they get to slay monsters, break the rules, be the boss, or rescue the baby unicorn, right? So villain, hero, mom, dad, people in their area, in their surroundings, teacher, doctors, whatever it may be. These pretend roles give them a safe, symbolic space to face big emotions without real consequences. So a few of these examples would be like a child building a block tower, knocking it down. Isn't it being destructive? They're scientists in a lab exploring gravity, cause and effect, and even disappointment. Oops, it fell. Let's try again. That's resilience training, right? Oh, it fell down. I fell down. I got to get back up and try again. When a child plays superhero, they're not just flying around the room. They're discovering their own strength, exploring justice, and figuring out how to feel big in a world where they're often the smallest in the room. And then playing family gives them a chance to process how they see adults interact. You might even hear your own phrases being repeated. We don't hit, use your words, right? Or, oh, this little doll want to kiss, right? You know, daughters love to do that and sons too. It's equal parts adorable and humbling. So I guess, just when it comes to, hey, how do I maybe engage with our my young one, or just some tips as to what how to look at play because I think it's like such an important like part for our little kids to have, and then also for us to be a part of. If you know, I said earlier, not every parent's going to be comfortable with playing with their son or daughter, and I want to give you ways to kind of break that ice, so to speak, or give you ways to engage in with your son or daughter, and maybe a couple like boundaries or rules too. And this is from parent science and child development science. So, take him for what you want. You can take it or leave it, but I just want to kind of convey this out to parents who are willing to kind of step into that play rink. So let them lead, right? Stay curious, trust the process, even if it looks chaotic. I would even say the more chaotic, the better, because that's how kids really get to learn. Obviously, keep it safe, right? There's no worry. Like, yes, keep it safe. um, the more that they can experiment in a safe environment and just know that it's going to be messy, possibly, then that's something that just to keep in mind. So think of yourself not as the director, but as a co-actor or backstage crew. Your child is leading the play. So whenever you do want to join the play, and do like quality time with it, which is very valuable to kids. I like to call it almost like currency. And the way that I think of it too is when their attention meter or connection meter, that sounds much better. When their connection meter is low, then that's when they might have different behaviors that we're kind of like, huh, I wonder why they're doing that. Possibly it's because they feel disconnected from you and they want to feel connected. They're not going to come up and say, hey, I need connection. Because that's just unless we give them that verbiage, right? Hey, I want connection right now. Can we play? Blah blah blah. They might be annoying because being annoying gets them the connection, right? It's negative attention, it's negative connection. However, it does get them that. So keep that in mind. It might be time for some quality time, and that's literally it could be 5 minutes, it could be 10. Not I don't want you to think it's like a huge time like structure, time commitment. You can if you want it to be. However, I definitely hear parents when they do quality time or do playtime with their kiddos, it's not their favorite. Like it's boring to them, and I totally understand because yes, playing dolls and not really understanding how you play dolls or being corrected by your young one all the time can be kind of daunting, or maybe you feel rejected, or you feel like, oh man, I'm not doing it right, I'm not doing it right. Don't worry about, I'm telling you, don't worry about that. Just be present. Just like put on an actor's mask and be in that world with them. They will think the moon of you, not only just for that time, but it'll fill that connection meter up for a good amount of time, and you'll get better at it. You'll get better at it. So, hey everyone on TikTok, thank you very much for joining me. This is a Parent from Love podcast that I'm recording, and right now we're talking about all about play. So, if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comment section. Um, and so schedule time for play like you would for meals or sleep. Okay, it's that important. I'm telling you. It's if a parent asks, "Should I skip dinner for my child today?" We'd say, "Of course not." But so often we skip play, especially unstructured play. Yet it fuels your child's mind and heart just like food fuels the body. So now I want to introduce you to Dr. Lawrence Cohen's work in playful parenting. Children process stress and build connection through laughter and play. He's got a really cool book that I love. It's called Playful Parenting. Check it out. Imagine your child's nervous system is like a balloon. Every time they're told no, rushed out the door, right? That urgency that we all have, a lot of us that have as parents, we're getting out the door. We don't want to be late to work. We don't want you to have a target at school that looks really weird on us. I got to support plenty of parents with, hey, how do we make morning routine more smooth? It's definitely possible. There's a process. I can almost say it's science by now. So if you have, something going on with that with the morning or night routine. I like to call it a rhythm because we create a rhythm for them, and rhythms are safe, rhythms are harmonious. But you know, every time they're told no, rushed out the door, scolded for something small, or separated from you too soon, a little more air gets trapped inside. Laughter is the release valve. It lets that pressure out gently and joyfully. It lets the tension out, right? Creates more loosey-goosiness. It creates more love. And that's what this podcast is all about, is parenting from love. So Dr. Cohen, in his book Playful Parenting, discovered what many parents instinctively sense, that sometimes a good belly laugh does more to soothe the wound than a serious talk could ever do. So laughter is the body's natural reset buddy. Buddy? Yeah, reset buddy. Reset button. And for kids, it's a powerful way to heal and connect. So now there's this concept called attachment play, and that is playful interactions that restore trust, safety, and connection. Think of attachment play as emotional Velcro, right? It helps your child stick to you when the bond feels frayed, when they've been overwhelmed or rejected or just out of sync. It's not about entertainment. It's about restoration. There we go. It's about restoration. Obviously, I'm reading off a script and kind of putting my own 2 cents in here, but when a child feels disrespected or scared, they don't want a lecture. They don't want a lecture. I had plenty of parents say to me, I go into logic mode. I go into rational because that's where we're safe. We're safe with words. More words means I'm doing more, and more words means that's what I can do, what's what I'm bringing to the table. As adults, that's safe. That's kind of how we talk to friends, maybe. That's how we talk to our spouse, coworkers, and whatnot. I would say not only just for kids, but for everybody, when they're in big emotions, it's validation time, right? It's validation and co-regulation time. And so validation means I see that you're angry, or I would be angry too. I totally understand that you're frustrated. I would be frustrated as well. Tell me more, right? If your kiddo can tell you more, or hey, what color is that in you? What hero or what Disney character is are you feeling right now? Kids want to know what is happening internally. They want to know. That's actually why they play more too, right? Is they get to try on different feelings, try on different emotions in a safe space that won't get them in trouble. So being with them and empathizing, it's I see you, I love you, I'm here for you. They want to feel safe again. Laughter, silliness, and connection sends that message. I love you, I see you, I'm here for you. So the more that we can, when our child has those big emotions and we can get into validation mode and co-regulation mode, the more often that we're going to be able to help them develop that part of the brain, their emotional resilience part of the brain. And if we join their chaos with more chaos, then we're going to grow that part of their brain. And depending on the values of you and your family, there's a way to connect and grow that emotional resilience. Um, in a way that's more empowering for you and your family and creates just more synchronicities, right? More harmony within the family. So that's not the topic for today, though. I have that for another podcast. Today, we're just talking about good old-fashioned play. And so there's a couple of things that I'd like to get across too. Laughter helps release tension, right, from the nervous system. It lowers stress hormones like cortisol. If crying is the rain that waters emotions, then laughter is sunshine. It warms, relaxes, and helps everything grow. Studies show laughter reduces cortisol, the stress hormone, boosts connection, and even increases cooperation. We all kind of know this, right? But it's a good reminder. That means a silly 5-minute game might help your child listen better than 15 minutes of reasoning and lecture. Definitely. When you playfully take the less powerful role, your child feels strong and safe. Power, this balance, this balances the power struggles and rebuilds connection. Kids live in a world where adults are always in charge. When to eat, what to wear, where to go. Imagine how powerless that must feel, right? We're taking away their autonomy, which they're going to want back. They're going to want to do other things to get that autonomy. And if we allow them to like during play for them to kind of do a role reversal, which is one type of play I'm going to go over later on, then that can help them kind of recover, maybe boost their confidence, will definitely lower the cortisol, right? The stress hormones. So when you playfully take the less powerful role, right, like what I was talking about, kind of like the role reversal, your child feels strong and safe. This balances the power struggles and rebuilds connections. So when you let your child chase you down the hall yelling, "I'm gonna get you," while you scream and mock fear, you're handing them the steering wheel for once. And in doing that, you're not giving up control, you're giving back connection. It says, I trust you. I can be vulnerable with you, and you're safe to be strong with me. Play can be the repair tool for discipline, tantrums, or separation anxiety. Let's say your child has a meltdown after school drop off. It happens. Totally get it. It's part of the growing up, right? It's part of their development. It's definitely part of being a developing brain. You could lecture or punish or ignore. But what if later that day you play school reversal, where you're the kid and they're the teacher, making you do silly things like sit in a tiny chair or take a nap time in the laundry basket. Through this role reversal, they're processing the stress and reclaiming their power. They laugh, you connect, healing happens, right? With laughter. Healing and laughter are, there's a whole book on that actually, very, very synonymous. So the types of attachment expanded with examples, power reversal play. So, okay, I'm going to tell you some expanded examples here. You're the silly, clumsy ogre who keeps almost catching them, but always trips, slips, or falls behind. No, not the super speed kid again. You're too fast for me. This gives kids a safe outlet to feel powerful, competent, and brave, especially after situations where they may have felt helpless. Then there's this nonsense play. You say everything backward. You try to put a sock on their head instead of their foot. You say, oops, this is a banana while holding a shoe. The sillier, the better. Nonsense play gives kids and adults the wherewithal to release a lot of social pressure and perfectionism, right? It's permission to be goofy and free and make mistakes and laugh about them. Mistakes are funny. Mistakes are how we learn, and then we learn, and right, then it's makes sense. There's no nonsense, but it makes sense. So nonsense play, I love that. It's really fun, kind of acting dumb and doing that. Role reversal play, I got to go over this one again because it's that silly and it's that kind of just growth. There's a lot of growth that happens with role reversal. So your child becomes the parent, right? Becomes you. Time for bed, mommy. Did you brush your teeth? And you say, no, I don't want to go to bed. This play helps people process rules and routines that may feel rigid or frustrating. They get to laugh, they get to play, they get to release this tension, and they get to laugh at you all the same the complaints that they do, right? They do the same thing that they do, or you do the same thing that they do, and vice versa, right? And maybe gain a little empathy in the process. That's really the biggest key, I think, is empathy and then compassion of like, oh my gosh, oh, this is what it feels like to be protested against or ignored all the time. Wow. Um, and so rough housing with connection, this is a really good one for late at night, or not just late at night, but during the night routines. You can do some gentle wrestling or pillow fights or tackle mommy, tackle daddy time. Physical play releases pent up energy and can help with emotional regulation, but most importantly, it builds trust because your child learns that closeness and physical contact can feel safe, playful, and fun. Always follow their cues though and stop if the energy shifts. So for roughhousing with connection, there's a lot of different things you can do. You can roll them up in a blanket too. You can do pillow squishes. Like kind of do I don't know symbols. You can say like pillow bats. I don't know what you can call them, but I I know I think almost every kiddo that I've worked with, it's called proprioceptive. It's pressure on the body. So just like a hug, right? We don't need to do hugs the whole time though, but the pillow fight gets it out, right? The pressure on the body, along with the anger or the frustration that is being sent out when you're throwing a pillow. Um, or you can even do like, hey, can't get past me, like try to get past me, and obviously let them win every now and then. Otherwise, they're just gonna be frustrated and not want to do it anymore. So let them win, act that, be the oh man, I'm bad at this kind of person, or just be like, I got two left legs, right? All thumbs today, whatever you want to call it. So rough housing again gets them regulated, and I can even go so far as to say that some individuals, not all young ones and adults too, but some individuals at night, they may need that before going to bed. I ran into that a couple times with parents that I support where we're going over the night routine. Obviously during the night routine, if your young ones are wanting to not do part of it, they don't feel safe. And it's going to be tough for them to tell us why. So really one of the reasons why one of the aspects that I like to go over when it comes to morning and night routine is their sensory and motor um, capabilities, their sensory and motor, like how their sensory and motor is doing during that, and going bringing it back to roughhousing and physical contact. When we're babies, even we could say when we're in the womb, we had that comfort of something squeezing right around my body, and that stays with us. Not everybody has, but for the majority of us who've uh, have babies and us ourselves, we do like that a lot of time. Not everybody does, so it's very individual. But if you notice that your young ones are having trouble with going to sleep or a certain part of the day, the night routine, or even morning too, try doing rough housing. Try doing like rough housing with connection. And everybody's family values and house rules are different. So whatever feels okay to you. Really, the goal though here is that there's pressure on the joints and throughout the body. Okay, so that's really what the goal is here. And again, there's impulse control that's being taught here. There's also hey, how much force can I use? That's too much, or what's just enough to where I don't get in trouble, right? Th- There's a lot of different things being taught with rough housing with connection. Hey, Jasleen, how you doing? I'm hearing you over there. Do you have a question? And in TikTok, or if there's any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. Thank you for joining me. This is the episode 4 of Parent from Love, and check out my TikTok, check out my Instagram. That's at Parent from Love on both of platforms. And if you have any questions, feel free to message me. I'd love to help you out. There's a lot of cool parenting science out there, parenting perspectives, mindsets that I can help you out with. And depending on what your challenge is, I'd love to help. All right, so a couple more tips. You don't need to be a clown. Just follow their laughter, okay? We're not auditioning for Sesame Street. We're not auditioning for like the most playful or being a comedian or something like that. You're just saying, I'm here with you in this moment. There's no reason to just be funny. Just be willing to be a little foolish is is the tip there. The best play happens when you let your child lead and simply follow the giggles. So when in doubt, let yourself be a little ridiculous. Parenting can feel serious, so serious, especially here in the States. I hear there's other countries that parenting is not as anxiety provoking, and not as like all eyes are on you, parents. Everybody's pretty chill, but here in the States and maybe some other countries as well, there's some good amount of pressure from in-laws, next door folks, friends. But healing often lives in the ridiculousness. Okay, when you're willing to dance like a robot or accidentally wear underwear on your head, you teach your child that connection is more important than looking polished. Because in the end, your child won't remember the clean kitchen or the perfect bedtime. They'll remember the day you turned into a dinosaur and couldn't stop hiccuping. They'll remember the day when you turned that sock into a playful entity, right? A playful part of the day. They'll remember when you turned this seamless, odd part of the day or like difficult part of the day into a freaking parade, or we're get goofy and laughing, right? Um, or even like creating stories to tell about, hey, there's um a fairy that comes to, not just the tooth fairy, but there's a fairy that comes whenever you're doing this well, whenever you're doing the dishes really well, they'll come and bless you or like give you a points or something, like I don't know what you're gonna call it, but or there's monsters. There's people that also like do the storytelling when it comes to different types of behaviors you don't want. But that's a different podcast. That's not it's playful, but it's also storytelling, and I'm not going into that today. That's a whole other realm that you can go into on the spot with your kiddos, using imagination, going back and forth. That is definitely a type of play that we'll get to here in a little bit. But when in doubt, let yourself be a little ridiculous. Parenting can feel serious, right? And so when you really can let it go and be nonchalant and be playful, your kiddo will definitely take notice and do the same within reason, right? Being safe and whatnot. So, next up is how to enter their world without hijacking it. But first, a word from our sponsors. Parents, are you tired of meltdowns, tantrums, the endless emotional roller coaster that is bedtime, mealtime, all the time? Is your toddler screaming because their banana broke in half? Is your 7-year-old convinced their life is ruined forever because they can't wear their dinosaur pajamas? Well, fret no more. Introducing validation. The simple, free, no assembly required tool that transforms chaos into connection in 10 seconds or less. So, what is validation? Do I have to sign up? Is there a form for validation? No forms, no paperwork. Validation is the magical moment when you stop trying to fix, explain, or logic your child out of their feelings and instead say, that makes sense. I hear you. I bet you feel pretty angry about that. You sound frustrated. I would be too. I understand that. I get it. I would be too, is kind of one of the phrases that I like to use. You really wanted that banana to stay in one piece, didn't you? I know I don't like it when that happens to me. I don't like it when the unexpected happens. I know it's a bummer. That's it. Real parent testimonial. I used to try reasoning with my toddler. I even tried distracting her with snacks, but nothing worked until I tried validation. Now we cry together and then we hug. So, side effects may include shorter tantrums, deeper connections, children who feel seen, safe, and understood, occasional heart melting snuggles. Act now, and you'll also receive our bonus parenting mantra: feelings first, solutions later. Just repeat as needed, especially in the car, at bedtime, or during target meltdowns. So don't delay. Try validation today because your child doesn't need you to fix it. They just need you to feel it with them. Validation makes feeling safe again. Okay, so back to what we're talking, that's a word from our sponsor. Now we're back to the show. Children invite us into their inner world through play, stories, or quiet moments. Imagine your child has built an entire universe out of blankets, toy cars, and crayons sketches. In that universe, pigs can fly, bananas are currency, and dragons eat cupcakes for breakfast. And then they look up at you and with wide eyes and say, "Wanna see something?" That moment is sacred. It's an invitation into their world, a place where logic is suspended, emotions are raw, and imagination rules. It's not just play, it's a backstage pass into their soul. But adults often jump in with too much structure, too much advice, too much direction, and unintentionally take over. Too often, we burst through the door of their imaginary world like an efficiency consultant. Why don't you just sort your toys by color? You should make the dragon save the princess, not burn the castle. Let's count how many blocks there are. Isn't that more fun? Suddenly, the world isn't theirs anymore, it's yours. And just like that, the magic crumbles. We mean well, we want to help, we want to teach, we want to improve, but in doing so, we accidentally hijack the experience. I always say less is more. Less is more. In play, in big emotions, saying less is so difficult for some, especially for me. When I first started working with kiddos, I had a supervisor, right, tell me, hey, less is more because that's a lot of information going into their developing brains. And sometimes, a lot of times, they're not even catching it. So, and then we think that they are not listening or they're not attending. It's like, yeah, they're not attending because it's not possible. It's a can't versus won't. So really, less is more. That's a huge, big, big one for me when it comes to play and big emotions. The magic happens when we join instead of lead. Think of your child's inner world like a ride at an amusement park. You don't need to control the ride. You just need to get in, buckle up, and enjoy it with them. It's a ride powered by imagination, not productivity, and your presence is the key. So when your child says, "Look at this," that's an invite to connect, right? The goal is presence, not performance. When your child says, "Look," they don't need feedback, critique, or ideas. They just want to know, "Do you see me? Are you with me? Do you see this cool thing that's happening?" It's not an audition, it's an invitation to be present. Just like a friend who shares a song and says, "Listen to this." What matters most is that you listen. Avoid that teacher mode or like fixer mode. Instead, just be a co-adventurer, like a yes and attitude. Yes and yes and. You don't need to bring the lesson plan. You don't need to solve the puzzle or make the story make sense. You're not the professor in their story. You're the sidekick or the helpful dragon or the quiet rock that listens as they speak. Play isn't about correct answers. It's about connection. So ditch the clipboard and grab a cape. Now, let your child set the pace, right? That's another thing I keep going back to is let them choose the characters for you, for them, invent the rules. And a lot of times as parents and caretakers, we want to push back because maybe they're being too bossy and they're too bossy with their friends, and we think we need to push back to let them know, hey, some people don't want to be told what to do. And I could say I understand that, and I'm sure your kiddo might need help with that, and that's maybe a different time that you can utilize that and do more of I'm going to do what you say, and maybe that's what they want more than the pushback, right? Maybe them feeling that they have power, they have control over the situation will allow them to do that less with friends, with bossiness, or with bossiness with you or siblings or whatever it may be. Maybe they need to feel that control, and then that'll lessen the bossy side of them, so to speak. Try it out. Maybe that could help. I always say try things out 3 times because the first time is always like a surprise, and they might go right back to what they usually do, in this case bossiness. The second time they they uh they might really like it, the fact that you're being okay to be in their world and and be controlled, like kind of surrender and be the child for once, because that can really, again, help them understand where, like, what this power feels like and in a safe, loving environment. That's really good for not only just their development, but also like brain development internally, but also socially. Okay, so let your child set the pace, right? Let go of the need to make it logical. If they say the unicorn is also a firefighter who lives in a pickle jar, then yes, just yes and yes, and the pickle jar is in the bathroom, or the pickle jar is out in the garden and we need to bury the pickle jar. Like yes and is like the back and forth. That's total play mode right there. And as adults, when you're conversating with someone and someone's doing a yes and attitude and being agreeable, you're going to be less likely to lose friends. You're going to be more likely to gain friends, right? With the agreeableness. So tips for not hijacking with examples. Ask curious questions. Instead of leading, be led by curiosity. What happens next? Yes, questions, questions about the play, not like teaching mode, but about the playful banter that's happening. So, or like another question is like, what's this dragon's superpower? What is the goal of the princess? What does a princess really want? What does the dragon not like, right? What's their weakness, or however you want to kind of get into that world as if you were maybe well, co-creators, right? You're co-creating, you're co-adventurers. Oh wow, why did he build that trap? So questions that kind of keep the child in the driver's seat while showing that you're genuinely invested in the ride. Mirror their energy instead of directing it. Oh, I love this one. Mirror the energy that they have, even the facial expressions, the body language, right? That's all about rapport building, 101. And with kids, it's they feel that resonating with them a lot more when we're able to match their energy, whisper when they're whispering, yelling when they're yelling, um, and the facial expressions that they have, right? Are they sitting down? Are they tense? Are they relaxed? Really, really matching like mirror neurons, right? Turning those mirror neurons on, which will definitely help with connection. If they're whispering, you whisper. If they're jumping wildly up and down, you jump too. You're not trying to add to their world. You're syncing up with it. Like a dance partner. Oh, what a beautiful visual when they're playing. You're dancing, you're grooving, you're loving it. That's a place to be. Resist the urge to make the play educational or productive. Your child doesn't need play to be a lesson. They need it to be play. So if they're building a lopsided tower, don't correct them, just ask, what happens if we stack it like this? If they're drawing a dragon with 12 heads and polka dots, say, tell me more about the polka dots. Tell me more about this dragon. Remember, this is their world. They're not asking for your edits, they're inviting your wonder. So, examples of this is like storytelling style, right? Instead of saying, let's build a taller tower, try, oh, this one looks wobbly. What do you think happens if we add one more block? You're entering their experiment. You're not rewriting it. So if they draw a dragon and your first instinct is to say, that's not what a dragon looks like. Try this instead. Whoa, what's her name? What does she eat? Why does she have hearts on her wings? You just open up a whole new door into their imagination. It's really fun. So you're not the architect, right? You're the tour guide in their world. Don't steal the pen. Be a part of that. Think of your child's imagination as a storybook they're writing in real time. When you enter their world, you're stepping into a book mid-chapter. Your job isn't to rewrite your plot, it's to walk alongside them and ask questions about the scenery. Let them be the author. Let them hold the pen. And when they ask you to read along, read with wonder in your voice. Why 10 minutes of undivided play can change your day. Imagine your child's heart like a tiny cup that needs to be filled, kind of like the connection meter that I was talking about earlier. And that connection meter isn't going to be filled up with toys, screen time, or snacks. It's with you, it's your attention, right? It's your connection, it's your presence that fills that connection meter up. And the most beautiful part of this is that it only takes 10 minutes. It can only take 10 minutes of your time to truly give that connection meter a boost. So it's just truly not being distracted, right? Phone free, put the phone away, side by side being can fill that connection meter up to the brim. This kind of presence isn't about doing more, it's about being all in, even for a moment, like giving them the sun in a snow globe, contained yet powerful. Okay, so now I want to give you a really cool way to connect, and this is like a try it at home activity, and it's special time or 10-minute play dates, right? And let your child choose the activity as long as it's safe and there's no screens involved, no phones, right? We all don't have our phones, no multitasking, no teaching, and no fixing. You don't even need to say much. Your job is to just be there fully. You can even like mirror their emotions, mirror what they have to say, mirror their energy. So if they're jumping up and down or jumping up and down, if they're sad, I can be sad with them. So just really, there's a really cool try it at home. There's also another really cool playful one that where it's like an imaginary string that you're connected to them with, and you're trying to get that like far enough away from them that the string breaks, right? That you're not connected anymore. And so they have to be really quick. You have to be really playful and just ask them like, hey, is the string still there? And then they can say yes or no. And then, role reversal. They are now the one with the string connected to them, and they're trying to run it as far away as they can. And so there's a couple that's like two cool ways to play. And then, yeah, cool. All right. So, feelings in a box. We can also grab an empty box and say, let's fill it with feelings. Take turns acting out emotions. So, like, what does it mean to be happy? What does it look like to be mad, tired, scared? Then putting them in the box. So, these different types of feelings and putting them in there. You can close the lid when done or say, let's let this one fly away. So this builds emotional vocabulary while making tough feelings feel less scary. So when we're able to kind of put it in a box and do something with that box, we can give them the emotion for it. And we can even talk about the emotion. Is what color is that emotion, right? What character is that emotion? Is that a Disney character, a Marvel character? Which one would that be? Or even, inside out, emotions wise, what color would that be? Let's see here. Also, the role reversal game, that's what I talked about earlier. I always love that one where they're the child, they're the parent, you're the child, and you know, kind of let it commence. There's also this really cool one where you start off with once upon a time in a land very far away, there was this leprechaun that wanted a, and then they get to answer that. They get to answer it with their own type of scenario, their own story, and then they popcorn it back to you, so to speak, or they go back to that you go back and forth and create a story together that's silly and fun. You do that with songs too, but okay, so that does it for this week's episode. Episode number 4. This one's all about play and Um, oh, you can also, sorry, bumbling boss battle. Here we go. Become the slowest, silliest villain your child has ever faced. So you're the monster, the tickle robot, the pillow dragon, whatever you want it to be, but you can't seem to catch them. And every time they push you, you fall over in exaggerated defeat. Let them win. Let them win. Don't discourage them. Don't frustrate them. That's what this is all about, really. That victory builds confidence, reduces power struggles, and fills their emotional tank. So bonus points if you get goofy sound effects and some dramatic falls in there. So wrapping it up, play isn't a luxury, right? It's love in motion. Next week, we're looking inward and looking at why some of our parenting patterns aren't even yours. Okay, till next time. See you later. Catch you later. Thanks for joining. Yeah, Marco. Yeah, you do. I know. I can feel it from you. You got the silliness. I love it. I love it. Silliness is it makes the day go by way quicker and it makes life worth living, huh? Thank you for listening to the Parent from Love podcast. I hope you found this time to be fun, lightening, and a nice respite from your day. Take a nice big inhale in, hold at the top, and release it nice and slowly. Feel free to visit parentfromlove.com and see what interests you. Join our community on Facebook. It's called Parent from Love. You can also check out our course. Please like and subscribe this podcast. Comment down below. I'd love to know your thoughts about the show and any feedback or any challenges that you have for future podcast episodes. And don't forget, smile. You are unconditionally loved.